Think about the last time someone turned their back on you. Not a small slight, a real rejection. A door closed, a person gone, a community that decided you were no longer welcome. You did not just feel sad, you felt something closer to dying. And that is not a metaphor. That is not poetic language. That is your nervous system doing exactly what it was designed to do when you are cast out. Firing the same ancient alarm that fires when your body is under physical threat. Rejection does not feel like heartbreak. Rejection feels like annihilation. Why? In 2003, a psychologist named Naomi Eisenberger at UCLA ran an experiment. She put subjects inside a brain scanner and had them play a virtual ball-tossing game with two other players. Midway through the game, the other players stopped passing the ball. They simply excluded the subject without explanation. And the brain scans showed something extraordinary. The same region of the brain that registers physical pain, the dorsal anterior cingulate cortex, lit up exactly the same way it does when you break a bone or burn your skin. Social rejection and physical injury are processed in the same place. Your brain does not distinguish between a punch and being cast out. You feel it the same way. Now, go back further. Go back tens of thousands of years. Your ancestors lived in small tribes. To be rejected from the tribe was not a social inconvenience. It was a death sentence. Outside the group, there were predators, starvation, exposure. The wilderness did not offer second chances. So your body evolved a brutal early warning system. Make rejection hurt so much that the individual will do anything to avoid it. The pain was the survival mechanism. But here is what nobody tells you about that system. It was never designed for the world you live in now. Your ancient nervous system cannot distinguish between being exiled from a hunter-gatherer tribe and being left on red, between being cast out of a village and a conversation that ended badly. The alarm fires with the same intensity, the same spike of cortisol, the same sick drop in your stomach, the same desperate impulse to fix it, to chase it, to do anything to be let back in. You are carrying a survival mechanism built for a world that no longer exists. And the Bible knew this before neuroscience had a name for it.
Open the Psalms and you find David, a man called a man after God's own heart, writing things that sound like a person in free fall. Psalm 22 opens with words you may recognize from somewhere else entirely. My God, why have you forsaken me? Why are you so far from saving me, so far from my cries of anguish? This is not mild disappointment. This is someone's nervous system is screaming. This is the language of a person who has experienced what modern psychology now calls social death, the felt sense that you have been cut off from the one connection that defines your existence. David was not being dramatic. He was describing the most terrifying experience a human nervous system can register. And he was describing it to God, which means something important. Because if rejection is the wound, then what is the cure? In 2011, researcher Kipling Williams at Purdue University published decades of research on what he called ostracism, the experience of being ignored or excluded. His findings showed that even temporary, brief social exclusion produced immediate drops in 4 fundamental human needs: belonging, self-esteem, meaningful existence, and control.
4 needs, unraveled in minutes. And he found that people who experienced chronic ostracism, long-term exclusion, did not just become sad, they became what he called invisible. They stopped believing they had a place in the world at all. Now read that list again: belonging, self-esteem, meaningful existence, and control. Those are not just psychological needs, those are the exact promises woven through the entire narrative of Scripture. You are known, you are chosen, your life has a purpose larger than you can see, and nothing, not circumstance, not failure, not the opinion of another person, can remove you from the grip of the one who formed you. The Apostle Paul wrote to the church in Rome and asked a question that cuts straight through every rejection you have ever felt. Who shall separate us from the love of God? Then he lists the entire catalog of human terror: trouble, hardship, persecution, danger, death. And his answer is the same each time: nothing. Not one thing on that list has the power to accomplish what your nervous system fears most.
Rejection reveals what you are actually rooted in. A researcher named Roy Baumeister spent years studying what he called the need to belong, the idea that humans are fundamentally driven by a deep and universal need for stable, caring relationships. He found that when this need goes unmet, people do not simply become lonely, they become vulnerable to almost every negative outcome psychology tracks: depression, anxiety, physical illness, shortened lifespan. Belonging, he argued, is not a luxury, it is a biological necessity. And yet, every single human source of belonging is conditional. Every community has a door that can close. Every relationship has a limit you can cross and find yourself outside of. The only belonging that carries no condition, the only acceptance that does not shift with your performance, your appearance, your usefulness, your compliance, is the one described in the opening chapter of a letter written to the church in Ephesus. Before the foundation of the world, you were chosen. Not after you proved yourself, not after you cleaned yourself up. Before. The belonging came first. The belonging was the starting point. That is not how any human system of acceptance works, which is precisely why no human system of acceptance can fill the space that was designed for something else. Here is what happens when you feel rejected. Your body floods with stress hormones. Your thinking narrows. You become preoccupied, scanning every interaction for signs of further exclusion, rehearsing what you should have said, constructing scenarios where you win back the approval you lost. Psychologists call this the rejection spiral, and it is almost impossible to break from the inside, because the very cognitive systems you would use to reason your way out are the ones the rejection response has hijacked. You cannot think your way out of a pain your body is processing as a mortal threat.
But you can reorient. You can redirect the attachment. The 23rd Psalm is one of the most read pieces of writing in human history, and its power is not in its poetry. Its power is in what it actually claims. Even when I walk through the darkest valley, through the place that feels most like abandonment, most like exile, most like the wilderness your ancestors feared, even there you are with me. Even in the valley that looks like rejection, looks like the end, looks like being cast out into the dark, the presence does not leave. The valley does not mean absence, it means you have not reached the other side yet. And this is the reframe that changes everything about how rejection works on you. If your deepest belonging is fixed, if the anchor holds regardless of whether every other rope snaps, then rejection from a person, a group, a community, a circumstance becomes painful but not fatal. It hurts the way a fall hurts, but it does not destroy the ground beneath you, because the ground is not them. The ground was never them. You started this thinking about a door that closed on you, about someone who turned their back, about the feeling that stays in your chest long after the moment has passed. Your body registered that as a survival threat, and in a sense it was, because you were built for connection, and every interruption to connection echoes the oldest fear your nervous system carries. But the interruption is not the end of the story, because the God who built that longing for belonging, who wired the need so deep that its absence registers as physical pain, is the same one who said, "I will never leave you, I will never forsake you." Not the tribe, not the group, not the person who stopped returning your calls, the one who was there before you needed anyone else, the one who will be there when every other door has closed. You were not cast out from what matters most. You never were. May God bless you. May God bless your day.